now Jason Furman, the former top economic advisor to President Obama, and Roberta Jacobson, who just retired as U.S. ambassador to Mexico after 30 years at the State Department, also former assistant secretary of state. Let's talk about Mexico first. Roberta, tell me how Lopez Obrador is going to be different from Peña Nieto. Well,
I think this first president who is from neither of the parties that have ruled Mexico for 100 years, successfully painted himself as an outsider. And he will be different in that he has said he will focus on social programs. He has certainly in his campaign exploited the public's disgust with corruption, but what he's going to do about it is very unclear. His Treasury Secretary was quick to reassure investors this morning and the markets that he would continue to be fiscally and monetarily responsible. So it's unclear exactly where the biggest differences will lie.
He's promised so much in terms of social programs, yet at the same time, as you say, reassuring the markets. And then what does he do regarding trade? Will he renegotiate NAFTA with the U.S.?
It's a great question. There was an interview by someone who supposedly will be his NAFTA negotiator about a week or so ago, in which he said they would definitely continue the negotiations. They'd like to continue being part of, or they'd like to join the negotiating team during the transition, but that he thinks the Mexican government currently has actually taken a pretty good position on NAFTA. So they may go into those talks, if they continue, with a similar perspective. But be pretty tough on things like it has to be trilateral and not accepting some of the tougher demands that the U.S. has made.
And on the agricultural sector in particular. Jason Furman, when we talk about these trade deals and tariffs, we have Mary Barra from GM warning that the auto industry could really slump because of the president's tariffs. We have Canada imposing new tariffs on Canada Day on Saturday. And the president still doubling down on his threats against the EU. The Chamber of Commerce also weighing in. So the Business Roundtable, traditional Republican-leaning business groups all arguing that the president has got this wrong.
Yeah, Andrea, I certainly agree with those groups in this particular case. The problem is we're declaring trade war on everyone over everything rather than keeping our focus. There are definitely ways that NAFTA could be modernized and renegotiated. And by the way, that was something our administration had done as part of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But, waging war on Canada, Mexico, Europe, when, the real issues are with China, is not a strategy that I think anyone is very supportive of.
And how does this position the president going into meetings with meetings at NATO? So he's going to see the Europeans there. He's then going to see Vladimir Putin, who's been trying to break up the Western alliance. The president here has been critical of Merkel, of Macron, of Trudeau, famously, with language used against a close ally that we've never heard before.
Yeah, no, it's frankly incomprehensible, Andrea. I mean, it's not like, with Canada, the president's tweeted multiple times about their milk tariffs. As we know, they don't even really collect those, and we would have gotten rid of them as part of TPP. So it often seems like he starts with the grudge he has with another country and then tries to figure out some factoid to help support that grudge. The latest one being auto tariffs, which they have on our autos. We have it on their SUVs. Maybe we should all get rid of all of those, but certainly we're not the aggrieved party there.
Now, one of the problems with the trade, the two-way trade with Mexico, problems or benefits, is that a typical automobile, as you guys know better than I, moves back and forth across the Mexican border 7 or 8 times before it is completely fabricated. So, Roberta, in going against Mexico with these tariffs, aren't we hurting ourselves?
There's very little that we can do to Mexico, certainly in the auto industry, which is one of the most integrated sectors, that won't hurt ourselves. We end up shooting ourselves in the foot. But there are so many sectors that are integrated like that. Aerospace, The Wisconsin governor comes to Mexico every year
You know
because
this.
of
You were
cheese.
down there
Right.
on the receiving end.
Right, and Scott Walker and his lieutenant governor were there because cheese is critical in that equation. The Mexicans will put tariffs and have announced they will on things very strategically: bourbon, pork, cheese, and they're even considering corn and soybeans.
Was that part of Lopez Obrador's?
Lopez Obrador did not talk specifically about those tariffs. Those were put on by the current government. But it's an example, I think, what we've seen is these more than just autos are very integrated. 1.6 billion crosses the border every day in goods and services, and even more with Canada. And so there's no way to hurt those neighbors in these integrated sectors without seriously hurting ourselves already.
And just finally, is he likely to go along with Mexico paying for the wall? I think I know the answer.
That's one of the few things, Andrea, that everybody in Mexico agrees on, and the answer is a large no.
Okay, Jason Furman, it's always great to see you. Roberta Jacobson, Ambassador, thank you very much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.